Yeah. All right. So the last topic was about this black therapist. This is we're at Twitter discourse segment of the pod. So this is what I'm gonna play the video, and this is where it all started. So there was this therapist on TikTok, and I guess she said something like she's the black therapist, and she just gives, like that's what we're seeing nowadays on social media, like especially on TikTok. We're seeing people from different professions, like doctors, lawyers, accountants, like people who now are able to directly just talk to people and talk. I guess they talk about their experience or talk about things that they see, and then they relate it to their profession. So this therapist, there was a tweet. This is how I found it because the tweet landed on Twitter. And this girl tweeted, "I wonder how many other therapists have to contend with these feelings. Licensed therapists on my timeline. I'd love to hear from you." So here's the video. Oh God, it's kind of long, but maybe we'll just play a little bit.
So here's this thing that
she said the relationship math ain't mathing.
So I'm a therapist, licensed psychologist. I work with women primarily, black women, and I work with a handful of couples. Couple revelations.
Can you hear it?
I haven't seen
I can hear it.
My couples this week.
I'm just going to talk a little bit, so hopefully we don't get it flagged.
And I realized that my energy at the end of the week was different, notably different. And I connected it to the fact that it's because I'm not seeing the couples. And the couples that I'm currently working with are all heterosexual couples. And the emotional labor for me to see the men in the relationship as full, whole human beings who are deserving of love and empathy is sometimes overwhelming because of the way that I see them engage with their women partners and the way that I see the women partners overcompensate for their male partners.
You want to try to summarize a little bit?
Lack of empathy, lack of compassion, lack of emotional intelligence, lack of responsiveness, lack of accountability. It's exhausting. Women who are in loving, intimate relationships with cishet men are doing a lot of emotional labor in addition to a lot of additional domestic labor, especially if there's a marriage and households. The math ain't mathing in these relationships. And sometimes the responsibility for me as a therapist to be objective and to hold the space of serving the couple is effort, because I really, really want to talk to the men and help build the men's emotional intelligence and the men's capacity for emotional discomfort and the men's ability to regulate the.
So the beginning half was more so what people were talking about. So this guy tweeted it and said, "This black female therapist admits that she has an issue seeing her black male clients as fully human, and people are saying that that therapy is a solution to all social woes of black men." So you heard that beginning part where she was like, well, first of all, I feel like anybody who goes into being a psychologist or therapist, I get like, our friend is a guidance counselor. So I hear the stories of what she deals with, and I understand that. But I feel like to go on the internet and like complain about a job you chose is kind of weird, right? Like all of our jobs are like, we all do that though. We all do that. But it's like you're specifically complaining about like that emotional labor aspect of it. And I feel like that's kind of disrespectful if your clients see that, right? It's like now you feel, I guess maybe the clients should know that, but it's like you're this person I go to. And yeah, they're human, and I get that. And they're going to have bad days. Like, I'm not being insensitive. But to go on the internet and complain like that, like, who your clients can see.
No. Nah. When you're a professional, and I don't care what capacity you're a professional in, you don't get to have a bad day. Sorry. Like, if you're in customer service, you don't get to just have a bad day. If you're having a bad day, just don't go to work that day.
Yeah.
Your pilot can't have a bad day. Your doctor can't have a bad day. The surgeon can't have a bad day. The
CPA can't have a bad day.
The person driving
bring me into it.
The person driving the subway. The person driving the subway train can't have a bad day. If you're in a profession, you're not allowed to do poorly just because you're just not feeling
'Cause
that
you're
great that
human.
day. Like just
Yeah.
because you're human. No, you're there to do a specific
And
job.
you have a responsibility that you signed up for.
Yeah, or just don't do it. It's not.
Yeah.
It's really that simple.
Yeah,
Like,
just change professions. And once you feel like it's not for you, the emotional labor is too taxing, then time to go. It's not worth your mental health. Go get a new job. And I get like that's not really fair to say. And they might be like, "Oh, I really love my profession. Like I love, I
No, you
love to
don't.
serve."
No, you don't.
It's like, well, do you love to serve if you don't accept the bad that comes with it?
Yeah, if you don't.
You have to accept the good and bad of everything that you do. And to go on the internet where TikTok is so easy to go viral and say stuff like that, like if I was a black couple, I would not want to go to her after that. Like you kind of just shut down your own clientele. I wouldn't want to go to a therapist who's going to go on TikTok to tell the world about our session.
Really think about what she's saying. Like, what if your pilot is just like, it's really hard for me to just, fly these people safely. It's
If
like,
you're
whoa.
a psychologist, you have to be biased. I don't care if you like you have to put your personal feelings aside. You can't go into that. Like how you giving a couple you might be giving couples therapy, but have issues at home with your partner. So you're gonna be biased, whether it's unintentional or not. You're gonna say slick things, you're gonna side with the woman because you're a woman. I just feel like there's no way to be unbiased in these professions. And I feel like if you can't be that, then don't be in that profession.
I think that psychology is like, or therapy and the way therapy works, I feel like it's like,
It's kind of pretentious.
I feel like it's misguided. I think that the way that they should do it with an arbitrator, kind of like what they do in sports. And I try to relate things back to sports, but I think a lot of life can be told through the struggles of sports. But when the league, for those of you that don't know, basically in every league there's the union of the players, and then there's the league itself. So like the NFL, there's the NFLPA, which is the NFL Players Association, and then there's the NFL. They're two different contractual parties, and there's people in the NFLPA that represent the players and what the players want in terms of like things to make them safe. Like if they want better helmets or something like that, the NFLPA is the people that do that and push for that. It's not the NFL. The NFL really doesn't care. They just want money. Mm-hmm. So long story short, when they're negotiating what's called a collective bargaining agreement, or just a collective agreement on how things are going to take place in the current season, like what jerseys are we wearing, what logos are going to be on where, like how many games are we going to play, travel arrangements, all that kind of stuff, is listed in an agreement called the CBA, or collective bargaining agreement. And the two parties will negotiate and try to get that CBA in place, and that's what allows the season to take place. The MLB just recently, and I promise I'm going to get to a point eventually, the MLB recently, the season was a little bit delayed because the Players Association and the MLB couldn't come to an agreement. And then usually in those situations, they bring in an arbitrator, which is just a third-party person to help mediate the situation. I feel like therapy is so much more, they try to do so much of a emotional sort of breakdown and blah, 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 blah. I feel like they try to make it too technical. They really just need somebody to mediate. Have the two people talk to each other. Don't have them talk to you and then you try to talk back to them. Like, I feel like, and
I mean, I'm sure
wrong.
that's how it is, because we never don't know what it's like.
I could be wrong, but like, nah, like, guide the people. I feel like therapy in a lot of ways is trying to identify an issue. Like, I feel like you should have the people identify the issue.
Well, I think they do that though. Cause from what I hear, sometimes they'll do things like they'll give you homework. Like, oh, my therapist told me like I come back next session and tell me about any times in my childhood that I felt this way. Like, I think they do kind of unpack, and then they make you do the work, and then you come back and bring it up. I don't think they force you to just come up with stuff. You know what I mean? Like, based on what I hear, I think it depends on the therapist that you go to, or who you go to, or like what, But I think they do that for somewhat. But I agree with what you're saying. So like, I feel like all therapists should do that.
Yeah, I just feel like there should be somebody in the room to guide the conversation.
Yeah, not I think it is like that sometimes.
Yeah, I just don't want therapy to be like somebody steering you in a certain direction. Because if somebody's steering you in a direction, it's going to be whatever direction they want to steer you in. And that's kind of like what this is sounding like.
And that's why like I think there's like a fine line between therapy and like life coach.
Yeah.
Because people go to life coaches if they want to get coached on life, which is kind of crazy to me. Like, why you guys tell me about, I don't know. Some of these professions are like, I get they're needed and there's people that use them. But for me, it's like, you can give me advice, but you can't tell me how to lead my life. I don't know. So yeah, that was like the main thing I thought. That was like the first red flag. Like, why does this video even exist? But then, like even what she was saying, I feel like that is like a crazy concept, like that this, we don't know the stories that she's hearing. I'm sure she hears crazy stuff. And then, women are obviously are known to be more of like the emotional person, the more of like, when it comes to feelings, they're the ones that are usually are just more like I don't know if that's a scientific thing, that we're just more of that, like an emotional creature, and like we put so much emphasis on emotional type of things, and I feel like men might put more emphasis on like needs, if that makes sense, like material needs, like money. Like I don't know if that's an actual thing or if that's because society dug that into men's mind. Because it seems like that is like a lot of like people's. It's like the same story. It's like, oh, the woman's there emotionally for the man, but she doesn't feel that same support back. But the man's there materially and pays the bills. And I don't know. I don't know if that's just society that put that in people's brains, or if that's like an actual scientific reasoning that women usually are more emotional laborers. I don't know. I think it could be a little combination of both, right? But
I think that women don't. I think women, to be completely honest, and this is just me and my own biased personal experience and generalizing women in general. I think that women seem like they're emotionally available just because they're emotional, but that doesn't mean that they're like. I think that just because they're emotional about things makes it seem like the man is not emotional about things, or just because they're emotional about something means that they're emotionally available for the man, which is not necessarily true.
Yeah.
So I think the misconception is that men don't need emotional support or like don't feel feelings.
Yeah.
But maybe it's because of other factors. Maybe men don't feel like they are allowed to be emotional, or maybe they don't want to put their feelings out there because they know it's not going to be like in exactly like what she was saying. She's like not even looking at men's cases.
Yeah, because it's like you're hearing what the woman's going through, and honestly, obviously, you could always be wrong. Like sometimes the man could just be straight wrong, and the woman is actually suffering. That. I'm sure there's a lot of situations where the man in the situation and the woman in the situation, vice versa, are just a bad person, just mean, just that type of person. But lots of times, there's probably is some stuff that is not being talked about, and like. If you can't even see the man as human, like you're talking about, you don't even see them as human. That's crazy. Like if you can't see that maybe there's a reason. Like why don't you dig deep into what they've been through? Maybe they went through something. Maybe they had a certain childhood. Maybe something made them this way. There's no excuse. But it's like why have that? But you have that same empathy for a woman. You're saying, but then you don't see the man as human. Like I feel like that's such a crazy statement to say that she doesn't see them as human.
Why does it seem that women always have a problem with men? Like, why do I feel like it's
That's what I was gonna open up more too, because there's like been a whole bunch of black men versus black women debates on the internet again because of this topic and the Drewski topic. I don't know.
Because I see obviously black men talk disparagingly about black women. It's not like that's not a thing.
Yeah,
it's not common, of course.
Yeah, but we've seen it.
It exists. But why do I feel like it's always black women against black men?
Because I actually can't even give you an answer why. Because I just feel like a lot of women have these experiences that they carry over into everybody's experience, and they just feel like I think the black men aren't really put in a good light on social media, so that only amplifies other people's situations. So I think it's because you see social media, then you have people who actually experienced it, and then you have a mix of people who are seeing it, and then they're seeing those stories, and then they're carrying that mindset. They might not even personally experience anything, but they're seeing a mix of everything on social media. And it just creates this huge wave where now there's this general consensus out. All men, people have a thing about all men, but specifically in the black community, that they're just all cheaters, they're all deadbeats, they're just, they don't do the little things, they don't do the big things. And that's literally what I wrote. I'm like, this gender war thing is so crazy because it's like you have them saying that, right? But then I don't think women even know what they want. They just pick different things on the internet, and it's like they want everything. And it's actually kind of insane to me. I'm like, you want a man to do everything, right? You want them to go to work every day so you can stay at home, or, you have your job, but they have to pay the bills, right? So the pressure is more on them to maintain that job. Because like you're man in the household, everybody's looking to you for money. So that, you know how much pressure that got to be? Like if you're having a bad time at work, you think you might get fired and like the whole weight of your whole family's on you. That's emotionally taxing on somebody. But a woman probably won't think of a man in that way. So he's like, you want him to do that and be stressed and like, have that burden so he can pay all the bills. And then you see tweets about, oh, men who don't know how to cook. What are we, 5? Like, you should cook too. That's a life skill. But it's like, all right, but you want them to pay all the bills and have a job that could do that. They're not gonna have time to cook. You can't want everything. Oh, men need to know how to clean. That's a life skill. Yeah, I agree. But then you can't also say that and want him to pay the bills. Because it's like, okay, so we got the emotional burden of paying the bills for the whole family, right? And if you're paying the bills for everybody and for your wife and you are well off, you have to make at least $100K minimum, I feel like, nowadays. So that's going to be a job that requires a lot of work and time. So, like you was talking about banking. You think anybody working in banking got time to really come home and cook a meal for a family, clean the whole house, You might not have time. So it's like, they can't be everything. And it's like, now you want them to take care of the kids too. Like, oh, men need to take care of the kids. It shouldn't just be on a woman to do that. And I agree. I agree because I'm a 50-50 person. I'm a partnership person. So I agree because that's what I am. But you got women who want the men to pay all the bills, but think they need to cook, clean, and take care of the kids too. No, that's your job. If you want to do traditional gender roles, you got to do your part too. You got to cook and clean and take care of the kids. That's your job. That's what it was traditionally. So it's like women are just insane to me. They want them to do everything. How are they going to do everything? Like if you feel that way as a woman, that it's one-sided and that you shouldn't be having to take care of the kids on your own and cook and clean on your own, then you also have to be for we split the bills. Because if you're splitting the bills and the man's not taking care of the kids and kind of neglecting his part, not cooking and cleaning, yeah, be mad. But if you want him to pay all the bills, then you can't be mad about that. And what else I wrote? Yeah, but then you want them to be, oh, I need me about the builder man. So right now you want him to be able to build houses, do yard work, take care of the kids. He got to cook, he got to clean because it's a life skill, and he got to pay all the bills. And then you wonder why. And then now you're hearing that they can't go to therapy now because the woman might not even understand that. Like men I feel like that's a lot of pressure to put on somebody, right? Like how do you want them to be everything? Like people take clips from everything, and they take think pieces from everything, and they create this one giant thought process on men. So with that mindset, everything a man do is going to be wrong in your eyes. Oh my God, I got an itch. So it's like these women are taking Twitter outtakes and hot takes. That's the word. These people are taking Twitter hot takes. And I feel that's probably more now than ever. The emotional taxing on men is probably bad, especially black men. Nothing he does is gonna ever be alright for you. You're mad because he's not cooking. You're mad because he's not cleaning. You're mad because he's not paying the bills. You're mad because he's not taking care of the kids. Like, you got to pick and choose. If you want a traditional man, you got to be a traditional woman. If you're going into a relationship as a partnership, then yes, you can be mad if they're not holding up their end of the partnership. But that's not how these women are acting online. They want them to do everything.
I'm not trying to reinforce any stereotypes or cause an even wider divide. But from what I've heard, and this is of course generalization, but I've heard other races of women don't do that, and that's why some black men prefer other races. Like I've heard Asian women are not like that at all.
Well, that's stereotypes, but
of course,
yeah.
But if that is the case, then they should understand that that should be understood that if a guy has a negative, just in the same way that people are so sympathetic of a woman being traumatized or something, they had some past experience and now that's the way they are and that's why they don't trust men, then that should be afforded to men as well. If men's experiences that I had this black woman that was putting all this pressure and she wanted me to do all these different things and I wasn't even getting emotional support or anything at all.
Yeah.
So now if that's been my experience a couple of times and so now I want to go with a different race, then that should be understood as well, that there's probably some trauma there. And I'm not justifying it, but if there's no sitting down and really trying to understand things or discussing things, then we're just going to be left nowhere.
Yeah. And like I said, you hear when that therapist says, so it's like, how could you even go to a therapist and expect empathy on both sides and hearing out both sides and understanding why people are how they are and what, and, you know, the reason why they feel a certain way or act a certain way, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I just feel like the gender war thing is so insane to me, honestly. And like I said, like I feel like of course, like nobody, I feel like you know, like I said, I just call it hypocrisy. And most of what's going online is women criticizing men. So that's why I always seem like I hate women. And I'm like a pick me. But no, that's just because I call it hypocrisy, and I just call it insanity. Like, you can't expect a man to be everything, and it has to be a partnership. And like I said, if you want him to be traditional, you got to be traditional. That's how it was back in the day. The woman stayed home and took care of the kids and cooked and cleaned meals every day. And that's why that was the topic too, and why gender wars came up, because people were mad about women who said they plan on cooking for their husband or boyfriends and stuff. It's like, why are you mad? Because they want to cook for him, like, but you want him to pay the bills. Like, that's just crazy to me, right? Like, you're mad about that, but a man has to pay all the bills and pay for all the dates and pay for this and pay for that, you know? But now you're mad at women who want to be a traditional woman.
Question for you.
It would be like a man would be like, oh, I pay all the bills. And they'd be like, king. A girl would be like, oh, I cook for my husband every day. Oh, she a pick me. Girl, pick your head up. Stand up. Like, what?
Question for you.
Yeah.
When women want men to pay everything, what are they doing with are they spending their own money too?
I've seen a few people like, oh, well, my money is saved for trips. Like, I pay for it. I save for trips, or I pay for like vacations for them, I guess. Or some girls, they be like, nah, my money is just for me to spend on clothes and like leisure and for the household. They're like, oh yeah, I buy the tissue. I'm like, okay. But remember I told you that one situation about that guy at my job. That's because his girl was making significantly less. They came up with an agreement that she was paying for the household items and he paid for the bills.
So what? Make more money.
Yeah. Don't live together then.
Like, yo, I get tired of like even that is crazy. Cause like, I'm not gonna give my own personal opinion because people are gonna because they're gonna then try to derive how our relationship is based on my own opinion.
Yeah.
But like, for me, it's crazy to me. While I do kind of understand it, like, imagine, like, you're almost being punished for making more money.
That's what I'm about to say. Cause remember we had this conversation before. I'm like, all right, maybe if you make so much more money, maybe we'll do like 60-40. But like, now that I think about it, it's like, nah, like, you should be living where you could afford. And I feel like unless it's your decision, right? Unless you like, I want something more luxurious, can I make you more? And I'll put up more money since this is my decision. Yes, then yeah, that makes sense for you to pay more to bill because you want to move here because that's in your price range and it might not be in mine because I don't make the same. But if you guys have a mutual decision and you're a partnership, that's why, no offense, but your partner should be on your level. I say date people on your level, marry people on your level. And that, if money is your priority. Because it's like, why would you not want your girl to be making as much money or more than you? And you guys both ball out together, both have the same taste, both have the same tax bracket, you know? And it's like, yeah, why should you be punished? Like, oh, you got to pay more to bill because you make more money. It's like, nah, you live here too. You live here.
You give them the same benefits.
Yeah, you live here. You paying your half. That's it. So
they're spending their own, okay. All right.
Yeah. Some of them were like, well, yeah, I foot the bill for trips.
How much is paper towels?
I don't know, $20. We're a pack of like 10.
I'm asking that when I'm the one that buys them.
I know.
Is the funny part.
No, the funny part is the timing just happens to be in your time, but I already have on my list.
It happens to be my time. No, I buy it when we need it.
I have on my list
We need
tomorrow.
it right now.
Yeah, we need that and we need dishwasher. But I'm getting that tomorrow, so I already wrote that down.
No, I'm probably going to buy it.
No, I'll get it. It's on my list. I already wrote it down. But yeah, I don't know. You know how I feel. Obviously, there's shots men out there, of course, but there's a lot of mentally unstable women with these ideals. And like I said, for a lot of women, nothing's ever going to be enough. And they look to just, criticize black men and find something, especially like I said in the black community. It's sad. It's so sad. And it's so miserable. I'm like, good luck. You guys going to die and die lonely and just be miserable for the rest of your life. Like, just constantly having something negative to say about black men all day, every day. Like, that's your whole timeline. Like, that was on your brain today, just to talk about black men and be mad. So, yep, That's my main issue. They can't be everything for you. I'm sorry.
Because you're nothing for them.
Yeah. And lots of people, they don't even be valuable women with these ideals. Like, what do you really bring to the table? Why are you so important that you think that a man has to be this for you? Like, besides all of our ability to bear children, like, of course, I'm a woman. Like, that's a crazy thing. We're the ones that bring the kids into the world. I get that. Like, that's crazy. But other than that,
you can't even do that without men either.
Yeah, you still can't do that. But, well, your contribution. But no, I'm talking about like the birthing process. That's all us.
But still, can't even get to that point.
I mean, but that's something that's obviously something to respect all women for, just for that simple fact. But beyond that, it's like, what else do you provide?
Yeah, but even that to me is so crazy. It's like,
yeah, because like it's not my fault. Like,
it's like, what you want me to do? Like now for the rest of forever, like there's a enslavement to women because they can have children and men can't.
No, like that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like I feel like as far as just respecting a woman, I feel like all men could agree to respect women just for that simple fact. Like we got to respect the people that could bring people in the world. I get, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying
no.
Well, the people who've actually had kids already.
No.
Yeah.
No. I think we respect.
Well, when it comes to your partner and your well, yeah, respect people. That's the bottom line is respect people who respect you. But
that's it. Yeah. Got anything else?
I'm just done with the gender wars. I'm leaving Twitter. Well, I'm not leaving Twitter, but I'm just not gonna be. I just can't be on there every day seeing people mad. So, yeah, that's my conclusion. Yeah. Stop expecting men to be everything for you. They can't do it all. You either want a partner or you want a traditional man. I think that's really the bottom line, right?
No, they just want a paycheck.
No, but I'm saying like you got to pick one path. It's like, do you want your man to be traditional or do you want that partnership?
I don't think they want either.
And if you want the man to be traditional, you have to be traditional, and that's it. Like, if you want a partner, then you got to be a partner. And of course, everybody has their own. You have your own things among your couples, right? If that's your agreement, that's your agreement. Like, at the end of the day, who cares? That's like we always say, oh, we don't really care. Like, at the end of the day, do what works for you, but don't spew that stuff on Twitter and stop making it seem like okay for the world for us to hate on black men. Like, it's getting old. Because to the whole world, we look crazy. We're the only people that do this.